Everybody, this is TJR. WandaVision, the series has come to a close. And yes, I think it's come to a close. I don't think we're going to get a season 2. I don't think you can repeat this particular series premise. But I think we could definitely get some movie and TV show spin-offs from this series. And so I'm going to refer to this as just a limited series. So anyways, episode 9 aired over the weekend. And all I can say is Marvel really punked the fans. And I think it's brilliant that they did. Now, the response to the series from critics and general audiences has mostly been good. A lot of Marvel fans have expressed that they've enjoyed the show, but many of them are also expressing a lot of disappointment, and for different reasons. Why? Well, because Marvel messed with their heads, messed with their expectations, basically mind, and they don't appreciate it. One of the things that I love about a movie is when it can totally mess with my head. It's one of the reasons why I love David Lynch. Sometimes I think WandaVision messed with the heads of a fan base that likes things to be predictable. Now, sorry if this review is going to sound more like a review of fan reaction versus the actual series, but in many respects, what disappointed fans about this show is exactly why I enjoyed WandaVision so much. First, with the series opening episodes, many fans expressed confusion, similar to the character of Darcy in episode 4. Why are 2 Avengers in a sitcom? Where's all the superhero action? And will this series going forward be nothing more than one sitcom homage after another? I mean, seriously, the trailer didn't provide you with enough information? Didn't seeing those images of Elizabeth Olsen and Teyonah Parris glitching, that wasn't enough information to tell you that all was not as it seemed? And even without the trailer, it was clear from the start that it wasn't what it seemed, that there were larger, darker forces at work in the background, and that someone was monitoring those first 3 episodes. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. I personally would have loved it if the sitcom homages had continued a bit longer, if the mystery had been allowed to simmer a bit slower, versus having so many huge revelations doled out in only 4 episodes in. I don't know, perhaps I just like foreplay a bit more than other Marvel fans. But in hindsight, and with the help of a few rewatches, I will probably come to realize is that the creative forces behind WandaVision made the right call, teasing their audience as long as they felt they could have gotten away with it without starting to lose said audience. But even with all those reveals given so early, the series still managed to intrigue. And it brought together Darcy Lewis and Agent Jimmy Woo, 2 previous MCU characters that we never imagined we'd ever see together because we never realized we needed to until this series. Now, this leads me into part 2 about how Marvel punked the fans. A lot of hardcore Marvel fans are disappointed, or perhaps it's better to say upset, that their fan theories didn't come to fruition. And once again, I couldn't be happier about it. When Monica Rambeau talks about the aerospace engineer who can help get her back into Westview, fans started speculating it was going to be Reed Richards. Turns out it was just this other person. Even better was having the deceased character of Wanda's brother Pietro turn up, played by the actor who played the same character in the 20th Century Fox version of the character. Again, fans exclaimed that this was how they were going to fold the Fox X-Men movie series into the MCU, only to have all their fan theories dashed when it turned out that he's just some dude named Boner or Bonner, I don't know, whom Agatha gave a magic necklace to, thus giving him some superpowers. And to be fair, I thought this is what they were going to do too. And I actually waved off my partner's assertion that casting Evan Peters was a deliberate misdirect. She was right, and all the Marvel fans, including myself, were wrong. We got punked. Fans were upset that we got punked, but I thought it was a brilliant magician's trick of misdirect to play on the audience. It was a style of stunt casting that had never been considered before, and in a way will be hard to ever replicate again. You're upset now, but years from now, you're going to be telling others, oh yeah, they really pulled it over us on this one. And you'll talk about it like it was something cool. Now, one loose thread, however, is the backstory between Ralph Boner or Bonner and Agnes, aka Agatha. Was Ralph a Westview resident? Did Agatha pull him out of Wanda's spell? And if so, why him? Also, if he's still a Westview resident, He knows who Agnes is. Will he try to awaken Agnes from the spell that Wanda put her under so that he can get another superpower necklace? I feel there's a backstory there, a little story within the story that is waiting to be told. But one of the nice things about this being an ongoing series, an interconnected universe, is that there's going to be other opportunities to tell us that story. So there's one other area of disappointment for Marvel fans, and that was actually the return of the superhero tropes. Because you see, there were some fans who appreciate the completely different approach this series took to tell its story, but then were disappointed when it ended with a superhero supervillain fight scene. To which I would say, well, what were you expecting? This is a Marvel film. But at least there was some subversion of this trope in that Vision reasoned with his doppelganger, who's still out there, by the way. And that's another story that has yet to be told. And I'm sure we'll get around to it. Of course, even some of these fans who appreciated the unique storytelling device were also upset over the whole casting of Evan Peters thing and were upset that Marvel trolled them. I'll be frank. This kind of trolling is good. This kind of trolling keeps you on your toes. And this show kept you on your toes. There was an element of surprise lurking around every corner. And hey, it's not as if the fans have never trolled Marvel. So turnabout is fair play. Now, last week, I stated that I believed that Wanda's story arc had to be completed. She was going to have to confront her grief, accept that Vision is dead, and that she would have to destroy the white Vision created by Sword as a kind of metaphorical way of showing this. Well, that didn't happen. But Wanda did have to let both the Hex version of Vision and her two children pass away into nothingness. And the scene where she returns to civilian garb, puts her kids to bed, and then says goodbye to Hex Vision was heartbreaking. If I can get personal now, I've had to deal with loss very recently in my life. And as much as I don't want to face it, I'm preparing for the fact that I will be losing someone close to me in the very near future, and that this will be happening sooner than later. So I found this series with its themes of grief and loss and how we process it and eventually own it to be very poignant to my own experiences right now. Okay, done being serious. So finally, Wanda becomes the Scarlet Witch that fans have always known her as. It was great to see, and the Scarlet Witch costume created for the series looked awesome. So do I have any complaints? Well, one small one. I think there should have been more said about what Wanda did to the residents of Westview. At the end, she walks past them as they line up and glare at her. She can feel their anger, and she is ashamed. But that's it. No other comeuppance. She never even apologizes. Monica Rambeau, trying to be comforting to her, says, "They will never know what you gave up." And while that's true, it doesn't excuse her actions. And I think this aspect of the show could have been redeemed a bit if Wanda had just responded to Monica with a line that acknowledged that. If she just said something like, "It doesn't excuse my actions." It seems like every Marvel film begs for other stories to be told. And I think that if Marvel wants to do something truly different in the future, it would be a character piece on the town of Westview and how its residents pick up and cope with this shared experience of trauma that they've all endured together. So if I had to describe WandaVision in just one sentence, I would say it was a blast. It told a superhero story in a completely different way. It was a risk for Marvel to tell their story in the way that it did, and it was a risk that paid off. WandaVision was not originally planned as the kickoff to Phase 4 for the MCU, but I'm glad it worked out that way. This series told fans, forget your expectations because you have no clue what we're up to. All I can say is, Marvel fans, please stop trying to figure it all out. Enjoy the ride, because the journey getting there is just as much fun as the destination. These are my thoughts on WandaVision, Episode 9, and the series in general. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like what I do here, please be sure to click like, click subscribe, and share these videos on your social media. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye.